And now we are live. So, what are we going to talk about today? Let's get it. As you can see in the thumbnail, what we have. Let's make sure everything is running smoothly. Welcome out there. Welcome to Magus in the Media. So, being live, this is where we're at. So, anime, as we can see, isn't niche anymore. It's a culture. Everywhere you look, people are talking about Demon Slayer. Now people are talking about Chainsaw Man. And pretty soon people are going to be talking about Jujutsu Kaisen. Anime films are hitting theaters, and it's not Marvel blockbusters anymore, which are taking the world by storm. They're hitting theaters like it's a Marvel blockbuster back in the day when the Avengers first took the world by storm. But here's the real question. Why now? Why are these animes hitting the world with such steam, with such gusto? What's going on in the world? Is it that people really just love animation? Is it because people really love the idea of these kind of characters being brought to the screen? Do they even know what Demon Slayer is? Do they even know what Chainsaw Man is? Most people don't. And yet these movies are making huge amounts of money. It's wild. So again, why are these stories about demons, about alchemy, about shadow and transformation, about devils taking true form into this world, inhabiting humans, about cursed energy, about all these things? Why is it happening? Do people know? Do any of you really know? It seems like it's connecting with us. It's connecting to people on a human level. I think it's because I think we all know that something is shifting in the world. This shift is happening slowly at a fast pace. We're hungry again for something real, for mythology, for meaning, for magic in the world. And anime, in its bloodiest, wildest, outrageous, most beautiful way, is where these old archetypes are being born into the mainstream. The warrior, the lover, the king, the fool, the alchemist. They're all back, it seems, but it's like they never truly went away. There's wearing modern faces. So tonight, I'm used to saying tonight during these live streams. So today, at this time, whatever time it is that you are watching or listening to this, today we're talking about just that. We're going to look at how anime became mainstream, how it became the new mythology for the new world of our modern age, why it's exploding right now. I'll show you that it is. We got the numbers, we got the facts, we're doing it live. And what they say about the world that we're living in. What do these modern myths say about you and me and the people around us? So welcome to the stream. And as always, this is Magus in the Media, where we explore myth, magic, and meaning in the world that we love. And it's not just the world that we love. It's actually in this fallen world that we live in today. It's about the stories that we love. And is it all that bad that the world is fallen, that it's decaying, that reality is bending at its seams when we get such grace and beauty in these beautiful stories? Yes, it does still matter. And what matters about that is that it's hard for us to do what needs to be done in today's age. So we look to these modern myths to help us, to guide us, to help us understand what, why, and where it's all happening. So, all right, let's start right where all the energy is coming from, because honestly, the timing couldn't be crazier with what's going on in America today. No one knows what's truly going on. We look to media today to tell us, to help us, to guide us in this world, but yet none of us truly can understand the amounts of corruption, the amounts of depravity, the amounts of nonsense. I've been around these kids today. It's wild. I feel like one of them old men. Like, these kids today are listening to such crap music, I can't even understand it. The lyrics are wild. The beats are hypnotizing yet manipulative. It's insane. So we wonder why we act the way we do, why we are falling into a hypnosis that sometimes we truly fathom maybe we can't ever come out of. Why There are such things as Three-Eye Atlas that's like boomeranging itself around the sun, and yet that's not what is being talked about in the mainstream, besides on like things like Rogan or on your Twitter or X, whatever is going on there, and TikTok. It comes up and you listen, but we don't truly understand what could these things be until one day we get Project Bluebeamed, and all of a sudden, and I said it, conspiracies aloud, where they try to tell us exactly what's going on in the world, and we got to ask ourselves, will we believe them if they do? Because I can't believe anything that's coming out of any of the mainstream medias, which is why alternative journalism and media is so huge right now. And why Magus and the media is here for us, so we can decode those things. We don't take sides. The magician doesn't take sides. He helps break new bounds into the unknown territory of the unconscious. And that is what it seems like is spilling out into the world today, our unconscious. And then what we need to look towards is those mediums and those stories that can guide us in an insane world, the fallen world that we live in. So that's what we're doing. We've got stories that are out, and it's still breaking records. It's Demon Slayer and Infinity Castle, which released into the theaters, into the world. We have Chainsaw Man, the movie, the Reze arc, making waves. Two totally different stories, but both doing the same thing. Taking raw emotion and turning it into something transcendent. Giving us the hero's journey and making it into what you can understand. Demon Slayer feels like a classic myth. Honor, family, sacrifice, the warrior's code. It's beautifully tragic. It's almost a Shinto spirit. Then you've got Chainsaw Man, which flips that energy and it turns into pure chaos. It's cynicism and absurdity. It's wild. It makes me feel kind of gross when I watch it, but I don't mean gross as in bad. I don't mean gross as in evil. I don't mean gross as in when you touch something that makes you kind of go, ooh, I don't ever want to see that again. It's something gross because it's not subtle, even though the language that's streaming from it is subtle. It's something gross as in slightly frightening, slightly terrifying, keeps you on the edge of your seat. There's never a satisfying moment besides those satisfying moments that make it feel human and raw in the heart. But buried underneath that painfully honest story, there's something there. It's about love, loss, what it means to even have heart in a world that is looking to continually tear it out. And that's that story of that boy, that young boy, Denji, the traumatized child. And nowadays, both are actually thriving in the world right now, not just in Japan, not in just the place where anime and these comic books, these mangas, these stories are taking storm, not just in the East, like South Korea, right? Not just in China, where the Donghuas are taking us by storm, like Lord of Mysteries. It's happening worldwide. And that's not an accident. There's something in these stories that resonates to you, to me, across cultures, across languages. We're seeing myth. We're actually seeing real mythic consciousness coming from a medium which isn't our own. But it's a medium that is our own because our own comic books do and have done just that. It's just not happening today. It's hard to pick up a comic book and read it and feel the shivers down your spine and want to read the next one. Where are the writers out there in our Western world? Have they been too hypnotized by the propaganda that's being spewed out? It seems like that's what's happening. We're seeing myth, real mythic consciousness rise again through mediums, through media that was once considered fringe. I remember back in the day, and I've said this in past live streams, where you had to hide from your friends that you were a Pokemon fan, that you read Harry Potter. Sorry, that's not an anime, but you understand what I mean. It's the nerddom that is there that you couldn't tell people because you had to go to basketball practice, football practice, these things in the small country, rural areas, where if they knew you at home sat there with your Game Boy Color and played Pikachu and played red and blue and went home, and before you had to go out into the field to help your father, I'm talking about my own life, you watched Dragon Ball Z. You wanted to see what was going to happen to Goku. Will he transform into Super Saiyan? What is Super Saiyan? What does that mean to me? Where did that come from, Dragon Ball? Journey to the West, the story of Son Goku. So let's unpack that a bit. I want to look at these particular stories that are connecting with people and how they're part of a larger mythic revival that's shaping modern storytelling. Interesting enough, the mythic revival is something that was spoken to from Terence McKenna, the great psychedelic mushroom sage who talked to DMT elves and was trying to spew out to people to get them to understand what is this hermetic revival that is going on, when did it happen, and why? What is the magic that is at our fingertips, but because of these black mirrors in front of us on a constant, but before then it was even these black mirrors in our faces with the modern TV. That mockingbird media that was continually trying to tell us what to think, how to think, and when to think it, that we must not and don't have to do that anymore. Got a little comment here by Relaxing with Nathan. Infinity Castle was heartfelt and almost elegant. Reze Arc was crude and unsanctimonious, both moving and highly entertaining. Thank you, Nathan. I completely agree, and thank you for being out there. I agree that both those movies were moving and highly entertaining, and that they tried to tell a real story. I don't remember actually the last time that I watched Western media movies or films. And it's there. I can think of it, but it's not as entertaining, so I don't know what that is. And maybe it's just something in me that wants to see the warrior, magician, lover, king come out, and I can see it through these stories. And they add that magic that's there. They add that bit of humanness, yet supranatural. Not super, but supra. Something that is human, but surpasses that. Something that spews out from the unconscious mind. Interesting enough, it's connecting with many people out there. It's huge, So it's not only huge, it's surpassing Marvel. It's making these huge waves that we can't truly understand. And I'm going to show you. Let's go, because we're doing it live, trying to understand how to make and share screens still. I will get good at this. Let's start off with this from X. We have anime news. Let's make it big. Anime News Center says, for the first time in cinema history, 3 anime films have ranked among the top 50 highest grossing movies worldwide in the same year. We're bringing the facts, guys. This is what it says right here. Demon Slayer, Infinity Castle, $667 million. And whatever Detective Conan is, the one-eyed flashback, $162 million. No idea what that is. Doesn't look like it's a movie for me. Maybe it is. Maybe we'll watch it someday. I don't think so. It's number 24. Infinity Castle, number 5 on the top 50 highest grossing movies worldwide in the same year. It's crazy. And then the Reze movie, number 37 at $110 million. This is crazy what's going on right now. And as we move on, Otaku News Insider on X here says Chainsaw Man Reze movie has a 99% audience score, and it also has 100% positive reviews from critics. And this is as of October 28th at 3:42. As you can see here, we got Reze and Denji. That's huge. 99% audience score. That means people are going to it. Not only are they liking it, but they're loving it. Continuing on, talking through X here, we have Chainsaw Man in English, Absolute Cinema. Thank you to the fans for making Chainsaw Man, the movie, Reze Arc, the #1 movie in the entire world. It's verified hot and 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, now playing exclusively in theaters near you in premium formats and on IMAX. Get tickets today. #1 movie in the entire world. In the entire world. Look at this. In the entire world. This movie, if people don't know what's going on with this movie, and we'll go into one more here before I move on. Otaku News Insider again, Chainsaw Man Reze is now the 2nd highest rated anime on My Animes list. That's huge. It's also the highest rated anime movie right now. Highest anime rated movie right now. So, what's going on? What's happening? Where are we at? Impressive, says Dusty Wildsea. I agree. Very impressive. Not only is it impressive, it's wild. To go back to what I was saying about how we as the nerd in the nerd kingdom had to hide the essence of our soul, what made the flames burn like with like desire to live and move on. You know, in the beginning there, you know, we had the comic book world. We had like, we all wanted to be Wolverine and see claws come out of our hands. We all wanted that one day for it to happen where all of a sudden I got bit by a radioactive spider and I was swinging from web, you know, from building to building in New York, or you know, I stumbled across the Ninja Turtles and they taught me martial arts, you know, and the list goes on. These are all Western stories back in the early 90s, mid 90s, early 2000s. These things are what gave us meaning. I wanted to be a Power Ranger. I wanted to one day have Professor X walk up to my house and say, well, I know you knew this day was coming and it's finally happened. We have to take your son. He actually has superhuman powers. Great. Please take me away from the farm. Even though I love the farm, I love my family. They were a great family. But who doesn't want to see that inner warrior be expressed into the modern day world? As Joseph Campbell called it, we were looking for the call to adventure. I wanted to accept the adventure. I wanted to find the mentor. I wanted to cross the abyss. I wanted to gain the magical item so I could move on and save the princess. And then come back to my village and say, hey, I have the fire of life like Promethea. Promethea, Alan Moore's great comic book. We'll talk about that. We'll do a video on that before, you know, not too far from now. So these things are really interesting. It's gone mainstream. Anime's gone mainstream because I believe, opinion, is that they're telling true stories. Not that there are actual chainsaw devils in the world, which there are devils in the world, let's be honest. A lot of them. They're in control. They're in the White House. They're not only in the White House, they're at Tesla, they're at Amazon. They're at Oracle, they're at Palantir. They're live devils, even though if they don't know it. They probably do. They go home, they have to sleep with their own conscience. But most of the time, these people don't understand that they're doing bad or evil. They think they know better than the rest. Microsoft is owned by Gates Devil, whatever that means, you know? Meta Devil, Silicon Valley Devil, right? So Chainsaw Man, for those of you who don't know, is about a world where devils are incarnate, both in fiends, right, with human hybrid devils, and these devils that like they can't control themselves. So the concept is this egregore of devils, no matter, it's the highest level of fear that you have. If you feel like that's how powerful these devils are. So you have, you know, the bomb devil, which is Reze. She's super powerful because people are afraid of bombs. In season 1, you had Katana Devil. Katanas have killed thousands upon thousands, if not millions of people throughout our history. Pretty powerful. You get many, many other ones. You get Chainsaw Man. You get the Gun Devil, which we're going after right now. So after the Reze arc, that's the plot. That's what's happening. They're trying to figure out what's this Gun Devil all about. How do we get to him, and why does he want to get Denji's heart? And so on and so forth. So the things that we fear most in the collective egregore, in the collective unconscious of our world, they spring up and they have power. They're from another realm and they intercede themselves with our humanity, with the world. This is pretty honest. This is pretty true. And this is pretty authentic. And I hated it the first time I heard about it. When I saw the trailers a few years ago, whenever that was, time flies by, I thoroughly thought it was ridiculous because I am a nerd on his high horse, so to speak. Because I think I know things. Little do I know, I don't know much. Because this captivated me. I watched the anime, the first episode of Chainsaw Man, and I was hooked. This boy, down on his luck, has no family, he's trying to pay off his uncle's debt, has to pay off his debt with the Yakuza through becoming a hunter and hunting low-level devils. That's what people do. There's hunters out there, and they go out and they collect bounty for killing devils. There's a big organization called the Public Safety Division that is run by this one character named Makima. And what ends up happening is Denji dies in the first episode, I believe. Fact check me. But the idea is then that he has this little puppy character next to him, this little animal who has a chainsaw for a face, actually a nose. Pochita. That is the Chainsaw Man devil. Something happens. You got to read the manga to figure it out. But he merges Pochita being a devil, yet a character, a creature, a devil with a heart. What's that mean? These are the questions that we get asked in these silly little anime. Not so silly. Helps us understand what's going on in the world. He merges with Denji, and that's what we get. Denji now has a little ripcord in the middle of his chest because his heart, which he died, it was replaced with Pochita. Now, whenever he gets mad, he pulls that and he has to protect himself. He's got 2 chainsaws for arms. Chainsaw nose, head thing. It's ridiculous. It shouldn't work. And if the West did it, it wouldn't work. If the West did it, it would be shitty and it would be like Netflix live action films, which are horrible. They're horrible because they don't understand and they don't get it, and some things can't translate. Not all mediums are the same. Not all things that should... Certain animations to stay just that, animations. Unless you have the heart, the will, and the imagination to do so, to change it into something better. But leave the East with what they have. And yet, we get other adaptations, which aren't adaptations, but they're original. For one that comes off the top of my head, which is amazing that Netflix has done, is called Blue Eye Samurai. It's amazing. It's beautiful. The art is spectacular, and I think it should also win awards. It didn't, but whatever. People watch it. Go out and watch Blue-Eyed Samurai. Back to Chainsaw Man. It shouldn't work, but it's original. So it does. Because we all have felt what it's like to crave intimacy, to be traumatized by a world and by a family and by karma, by family karma that you have to burn away. And so what happens to a 15 or a 16-year-old boy who only wants to have a girl love him? You do what you can. So Makima takes him in, brings him a part of the public safety division. Go out and hunt for us, she says, my little dog. And she's got schemes. What's Makima up to? I know. I read the manga. You should too. Manga? Read the manga. Beautiful comment by Relaxing with Nathan. Western artists and writers are too concerned with being cool. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Too concerned with being cool and too concerned with succumbing to the manipulations of the hive mind, right? Unless you say the right thing, you will be canceled. Unless you write the right way. And then it's interesting enough, maybe they just aren't creative anymore. Maybe they've been taken over. Maybe the leech of the Mockingbird media has succumbed into the hive mind. And so creativity has just been thrown away. That they don't know what to do because they don't want to tell mythological stories. They just want the next paycheck. But what's a good paycheck if you're selling your soul to do it? These are questions, not answers. I don't have any. Back to the anime. Back to what we had to do back in the day, and back to the Mythic revival of what's going on. It's crazy. What's crazy about it is, again, we had to hide away. We were like little ninjas everywhere, going home and reading our little comic books and playing our little Game Boys, dreaming of a story, dreaming about that day that you get to walk off into the sunset and learn your magical powers. And then we get Chainsaw Man and we get Demon Slayer. 2 completely different stories, yet captivating the hearts and minds of people. Interesting enough. Let's move on again and see how this is changing the world. Where is it? Doing it live, trying to figure out how to find all the things that I've wanted to talk about. Here we are. Interesting enough, anime beats Marvel and DC. This is from an ex-user called Geo. I don't know who he is, but comes out with some of these cool stuff that I read. Infinity Castle is over $616 million at the global box office, beating out Superman and Fantastic Four. Look at this. You can see it in the picture itself. How are we looking at these things? Make it bigger. Make it bigger. 616 million. Look at Akaza. He looks like a badass. Look at Superman. He kind of looks like he could be cool, but he's got that smug face. It doesn't look right. Something's wrong. And then look at this. Fantastic Four. Looks lame. Lame. Even though my buddy said it wasn't bad. But what's interesting is every time we've gone to these movies, I've gone with him, it's not, I don't walk out of there being like, that wasn't bad. You know what I do? I walk out of there being like, oh my God, that was the most amazing thing I've ever seen. That's what I want for my movies, especially when I'm paying $25 for a movie. Maybe it's 18. Whatever it is, it's way too much. But the idea is that I never walk. Thanks. I agree. He looks autistic. I know. I don't know. I don't know what to say about that. Let's go back to it. Thank you, Relaxing with Nathan, keeping us on our toes. And I think I don't think you're talking about Superman, but you most likely talking about Reed Richards. Interesting enough. And why is this interesting? Interesting enough that Reed Richards in this Fantastic Four, which I haven't seen yet because life happens and some things just, I can't, it's hard. It's hard to watch. Like Flame On Boy over here, Johnny Torch. That, I don't know what's wrong with his picture, but that's a terrible flame. And then you get Smug Guy, Reed Richards, who's actually supposed to be he's supposed to be the most badass individual kind of in the entire Marvel universe. He's supposed to be the smartest man alive, par excellence. Victor Von Doom, also one of the smartest men alive. Tony Stark, one of the smart. But Reed Richards is the head of the Illuminati in the Marvel universe. He has like the world destroyer. He's got all the most badass things, and he uses his mind to do so. And yet, that's not what we get. We get whatever this guy is. Anyway, I continue. Thank you. Exactly. And he says respectfully. Relaxing with Nathan. Thank you. Respectfully, of course. And no hate. No hate on who and what you are. But when you're playing Reed Richards, I want Reed Richards. I don't want whoever that actor is. Can't remember his name. It's fine. The idea is if you're playing a character, become that character. Don't be who you are wearing the garb. Be the character, because Reed Richards' story is amazing. He is continually trying to fight off the forces of evil in a cosmic way. Galactus, the big bad. The man who is, he's always thinking things through. There's a whole arc. Jonathan Hickman writes about the Fantastic Four, which is some of the greatest comic book writing there is. Jonathan Hickman is one of the greatest writers there is when it comes to Western comic books. And he writes about the incursions. These incursions are universes colliding amongst themselves, and one universe has to kill the other to win out. Go read it. It's amazing. Reed Richards is the one who has to figure out how to do these things. He's part of the Illuminati with Tony Stark and the Sorcerer Supreme and Black Panther and Professor X and Captain America. They are the crew, the Illuminati, that must help the world. And instead, you get whatever that is, Fantastic Four. If you're trying to build a universe, maybe, just maybe, unless you're Henry Cavill, who is the epitome of all Supermen, he looks exactly like him. Zack Snyder. There's this huge thing going on right now. Bring the Snyderverse back. People hated the Snyderverse when it came out until they get something worse. And then all of a sudden, what happens? When you get something worse, you crave for what was better, even though it wasn't what you wanted then. Because what we crave as humans is art. Art isn't the postmodern art. It's not just a banana on a wall. It's not a fucking toilet sitting down. And then we put some smears on it and we say, this is art because it's what I wanted, man. No, art has beauty. It has harmony. It has ratio. Call me an old philosopher. Call me a Socratic, pre-Socratic. Call me Platonic, that I think that things have form. But if anything, don't call me a postmodern, because What's going on in the world is just that. It's the crumbling of a dying regime and something being built in its stead. And if we want to say in what's being built, we have to understand the stories that are underlying those things being built along with it. And let's listen to these stories, because there are devils in the world, and Chainsaw Man is one way of telling us this story on how to battle these demons within. It's not going out in the world battling the demons out there, which one day may have to happen. That's what wars are for, right? But first, battle the war within your own mind, because it's within the own mind that reality bends to. Definition of magic. Magic is the art and science of causing change and conformity with one's will. Philip K. Dick. What is reality? Reality is that which, when you stop believing it, it doesn't go away. What are these visionaries and magical individuals, these artists, trying to tell us? They're trying to tell us something fundamental about the universe itself. That what you think, if you have the will and imagination and the know-how to do so, you can create change. But first, you must clean up the interior aspects of the mind. Make sure your heart is true, and make sure your sword can cut deep when needed. And that moves us on to Demon Slayer. So there's a differentiation. Chainsaw Man, this gross, this and again, gross not as in bad, gross as in just kind of gives me the heebie-jeebies every once in a while. It gives me this constant on the edge of my seat, knowing something bad's going to happen, right? Chainsaw Man, first hour of it. I'm dropping my Chainsaw Man review here tomorrow or the next day. It's coming out soon. And then I may write many other scripts for many other reviews on Chainsaw Man as it comes out. But the idea is that it always makes you feel like something bad is on the precipice, no matter what happens. And what Denji does is he just keeps on fighting, very much similar to Tanjiro of Demon Slayer. So in comparison to the frightful, chaotic appetite of devils being in a world, instead of devils, we get demons. Instead of the modern world of Denji's, universe, we get old school Bushido code, samurai, villages, yet there's some hint of modernity, on the precipice of the early 1900s. Somebody's going to fact check me there. That's fine. I don't really care. And you should, please. But the idea is in Demon Slayer is that it has a sense of beauty in the story, in the plot. So it's a different genre. Demon Slayer is not a horror shonen. I don't know exactly if you would call Chainsaw Man shonen. Again, there are better out there who will talk about that, and you can listen to them and follow them. But what we're doing here is we're trying to understand why are we on the brink of existential apocalyptic chaos in our society today, and yet as meaning is being stripped from the world. What is there for us? And that is the mythologies of these stories from the East that are coming to us. The anime, the manga, the donghwas, the manhwas, right? Solo Leveling is telling a Gnostic story. Demon Slayer is telling that warrior Bushido Shinto code where demons are in the world and they're killing people and they're turning other people into demons. So Muzan, the big bad guy, is. And there's an infinity castle. And in that infinity castle, we must get to the center of it so we can defeat the big bad. Do you have the heart to do so? Set your heart ablaze, says Rengoku. It's a more majestic story. I find it to be more beautiful. But that doesn't mean I also don't think Chainsaw Man is beautiful in a different way. And that's okay. And I think there's a massive push in our day and age to say one thing is better than the other. And objectively, I don't think we can truly say that, even though the authoritarian in me says objectively we can. I think objectively Demon Slayer is better. But that's okay, because I can also argue from the opposite extreme and state that these two anime, it doesn't actually matter because there are no good stories in the West. There are. That's an absolute. I'm saying it to be extreme because it is my heart set ablaze where I feel like, hey, please, Hollywood, do something better than what you're doing. You're crap right now. Give me a good story, put new actors in it. And there are good stories out there. I really think there are. And I think they're being suppressed because if they are telling good stories and then maybe something is on the precipice or on a boundary that maybe people don't quite enjoy, that then they may not get put into the next thing because this media news cycle is so fast moving that it's very easy for cancel culture to move in and tell you that this person is bad for one reason or another, when all maybe they're trying to do is get their script read. Maybe they don't have the right name behind them. Maybe their dad or mom aren't the right producers. It's crazy. It's crazy the kind of legacy things that happen, like the legacy media, or the idea that if your parents have a certain last name in Hollywood, that then you're going to be pushed forward even if you have crap to say. It makes sense. It happens on all spectrums of life, from living in small towns to living in big towns to being part of Hollywood, New York, LA, San Francisco, no matter what it is, the tech country and all these things. The idea is that it almost seems tragic enough that it's being meant and pushed that way. Maybe it's organic. These are questions that we have to ask. So let's ask them. Maybe it's organic and it's how consciousness expresses itself on the brink of birth. Terence McKenna once said that this is maybe what it looks like when a planet gives birth to a new consciousness. And as one starts to realize that no one is at the helm of the ship, that there is an Illuminati, but it is not what you think, that there are at any one time, as Robert Anton Wilson states, 24 different conspiracies. It's most likely 23 because that's the lucky number. That there are 23 different conspiracies at all times trying to take root in the human mind, trying to push their agenda. And that is what we get in all movies, that the thieves and the mafia and the mafioso, that the black departments of governments are continually looking to backstab each other because they don't have what? They don't have the heart and the grounding and the understanding of human consciousness, of conscientiousness, of that little Jiminy Cricket on our shoulder to help tell us what is good and what is bad. That karma matters, that what you do matters. And that if we understand the characters like Denji, as he's on the rooftop of a taxi cab that Aki, his friend, is driving as they're trying to get away from the bomb devil. As she looks at him in her bomb form, and she looks at him and says, loving things, it's okay. We can live together, let's go. But really, she just wants his heart. How apropos, how symbolic. And Denji almost falls for it because he's 15 or 16 or whatever age, because we all fall for these things, no matter what. It's just we're trying to learn. And then he needs a good friend to be all like, don't fall for that. She's joking. She wants to kill you. And he's all like, oh my God, you're right. What am I doing? Right? And then we have the Infinity arc, right? We're in the middle of the Infinity Castle, the ever moving and changing labyrinth that the Minotaur is in the middle of. And the only way to get to the center is to defeat all the 12 upper moons. And you can do this. There's not many left. We're defeating them one by one. They're in here. And as we defeat them in here and in here, and I'm pointing at my mind and my heart, in my dantian, in that lower furnace of the lower abdomen, in my lower diaphragm that I breathe from, that calms me. And then I can look back to my heart and my mind, and I can move forward, and I can take on the next big bad guy, the one that is on my path to the big great dragon that needs to be defeated. Because once I defeat that big great dragon, I can take part of its soul, part of its sigil, part of its magic. It actually doesn't, I don't need to take it. It actually doths it to me. It gives it to me, because that is what you win. And then you have to do it again. That Tanjiro has one thing in mind: help save his sister, become a Hashira, which means pillar, become one of the strongest demon slayers. But it's not just his will to become the strongest demon slayer, to become a Hashra. It's first he just wants to save his sister, avenge his family, make sure everyone else is safe. And if you are moving through the world that way, with a guiding light, with a mythology, with meaning, then the world is still hard, but a lot simpler. Then your practices come easier. And you understand that you're not alone. Interesting enough, from Chainsaw Man, from Demon Slayer, we move on. Demon Slayer was in the theaters. It's still there. I went to the Chainsaw Man movie on Monday night, Sunday night, whatever night it was. I went there with a group of dudes. It was amazing. It's like the first time I went in a long time to a movie with the boys. We had a great time. The movie was spectacular. I went with also two guys who had never seen the movie before, never even heard of Chainsaw Man, but they went and they enjoyed it. Anime is not for everyone. And when I speak of anime in such a way, I mean just whatever story moves you, because there are stories everywhere. There are good stories in the West that are still being made. There are good stories in the East. You just got to find whatever the story is that moves you in your heart, and you can do it. And if you can't do it, you come here to Magus in the Media, because that's what I'm here for. I've taken in so much media through the years, not only through reading the classical literature, ancient literature, ancient philosophy, all the way through to the modern age, comic books, fantasy and science fiction. It's all over the place. It's there. It's just there's so much information nowadays where it's really hard to parse through all the crap, all the dross. Because there are diamonds in the rough, and it seems to be that is what we're coming down to do. We're coming down here to try to understand where are the diamonds in the rough, and how do I bring that back up to others, to help others on their path. And amongst helping you, I help myself, because it's a lot easier when I have the ability to talk with you, get my ideas down on paper, be able to scratch away the nonsense and find the purity of what I'm trying to get at. That then you see it in the mainstream on why then again, I'll pull it up just so in case you forgot. Anime beats Marvel and DC. Demon Slayer becomes 7th highest grossing movie in 2025. I already said that. Infinity Castle has reached over $616 million plus in the global box office, beating out Superman and Fantastic Four. That's phenomenal. There's something to it. There's something to these stories, to these myths. And right now, it's my boyhood dream. It's that these animes are telling me something that I truly love. And what I truly love is authenticity, honesty, and that will to move forward in the world, to ignite the spark within, and to be the best person I can be for myself, for my loved ones, for my family, and for my friends, for the world, for being itself. Because we're going through really hard times. Everyone in the world, no matter what their status, what their tax bracket, what they do. Because no matter what you have in coin or in status, you still have to be alone in the dead of the night with your own thoughts. And if you know that you're not alone, that there are other people out there that are traumatized and are trying to make something of themselves, that if you put in the work, that through time, no matter what happens at the end, that you can transcend the current version of yourself to become something better. And here we are talking about some of the highest grossing films in this day and age. And these are the anime. And anime is having a mythic revival in our day and age. And it's because we've had such a lack of meaning in the world, because substance has been stripped from all things, because through the Enlightenment period, we have lost touch with what makes us who we are, What is our human soul? Who are we? And why do we do what we do? What is reality? What is human nature? What is the highest levels of a moral structural system and an ethical system? What does it mean to be me? And so this hunger we have, this collective hunger for all things, is going to continue moving on, because it seems like with such a push for these stories, that these stories are reaching the light of day. And with media the way it is, with TikTok and X and YouTube, we have an ability to bring it to the forefront, and an ability to cut away the awful and bring forward the great. The next great movie that's going to come out, that I will be going to, and I will be writing about, and I will be speaking about on a day-to-day basis, is going to be Jujutsu Kaisen. It's going to be amazing. And I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you why this next story is going to be amazing. And it's not because of the person who's going to be in this article, but it's because she's got such status and everybody knows her, and yet she's a nerd. Maybe. It seems like it. What is it? Here we go. Let's look at it. We'll wrap this up here pretty soon. Interesting enough, we have for Halloween, where are you? I don't listen to this person's music. I don't really like it. It's fine. It's not for me. But crazy enough, Megan Thee Stallion unveils her Jujutsu Kaisen inspired Halloween costume. She's a huge artist, and she is wearing a Chozo Halloween garb. That's crazy. That's Chozo. He's a badass. He beats up on Yuji. They become brothers. Not really. Yuji's got crazy powers. But for Halloween, she is going to be him. She is a huge hip-hop rap star, and she's an anime character. This is what I'm saying. People in the world are waking up, and they see that what is happening isn't okay. That our stories that we're getting in America and in the world are crap, and that there are good ones out there. We're not going to fall prey to the propaganda that you have to like certain things to be cool. No, anime is now cool. And it's not cool because it's cool or because of these people, but it's great because of these stories are great. This is crazy. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is that it's not going to go away because the revolution is now televised. The revolution is every day. We are looking and staring at these screens all around us. So what you take in from the screen is integrating itself with your nervous system. So it's time to wake up. It's time to wake up to the signs and symbols that are being thrown at you as a Death Star for a ballroom is being created when there are people starving and not being able to get their day-to-day needs met because we're constantly fighting more wars out into the world. And there's a war on our own home front, and it's the war for our minds. That as we go about things, you may not know this, but I'm here for you. I have a video on it. It's called Palantir. And Palantir is not our savior. Peter Thiel, even though he's talking about the Antichrist and the apocalypse, Peter Thiel is not our friend. Why? Peter Thiel is not our friend because he is part of the PayPal mafia. Peter Thiel is not our friend because he helped integrate and create something called Palantir. Palantir, the all-seeing eye in Lord of the Rings that Sauron uses to track the Great Ring. Interesting enough, you now have a company that uses AI and tracks and collects all your data. They are an offshoot and a branch of the CIA, even though they may not want to admit that. The CIA uses people like Peter Thiel and Palantir and Larry Ellison and Oracle to push in their agendas, to track, trace, and collect in a massive database everything you do. Everything you do is collected through these screens and that phone, which has a GPS, and everything you scroll and touch is being collected into that great algorithmic AI goddom that Palantir and Oracle are collecting and then giving away at their leisure. And so if we get more wild and more insane, if we start acting like these great characters, like a Tanjiro, who's learning from people like, sorry, if you saw my nose get all weird, it's because I had an itch, acting and being taught by characters like a Rengoku who says, set your heart ablaze and don't let anybody get in your way. Sharpen your sword and defeat the demons in front of you. And that's not a call to action. What that is that's a call to adventure. That is, you have demons within your own mind and your own heart and in your gut and in your body. And it's time to move past them. It's time to call them forth and let them move through you. Because the only way we get through this is together. Because we are one world and we can't go back to the small little villages anymore. We've already seen the sun. We've already collected and globalized. So what do we do now? What do we do? What we do is we find meaning in the world. As we see a collective hunger for myth again, we see heroes who transmute trauma, face the darkness within, and discover divine powers. As Joseph Campbell tells us through his monomyth and his hero's journey, we must face and look into the places, also Carl Jung talked about, we must look into the darkest depths of the places that we fear to look in. And that is where the gold will be. The gold that the alchemists transmute from lead into the highest of substances. It's an alchemical rebirth. So I have to ask all of you, as we move through Demon Slayer and Chainsaw Man, as we face the big demons within our own minds and our own bodies and our own world, I ask you, what moves you in the world? What anime first made you realize that this just isn't entertainment, but it's an initiation? So, again, I appreciate every single one of you out there. Please, as we move forward, like, share, and subscribe. I'm here for you. I'm going to be doing these live streams more. I'm going to be continuing my Lord of Mysteries breakdowns, next one, episode 5. I'm going to be coming out with my Chainsaw Man review. I'm going to be doing a Demon Slayer review. We're going to do these live streams multiple times a week. And we're going to continue to grow the community. Please comment and share, because the only way I can do this is with you together. And if you love these mythic breakdowns, my new Full Metal Alchemist review is out. Watch it. Full Metal Alchemist is one of the greatest animes of all times. It's a true mythic story, a true alchemical telling of what it means to go after and find the Philosopher's Stone and transmute the soul within. And again, I'll tell you who we are. We're Magus in the Media. I'm here as we unite myth, magic, and media in the stories that we love. I hope you have a wonderful day. And if there's anything else out there that you have to say or want to do, we can do it together. I have one more comment to talk about, just so we all know that we're here and we can have a voice. Red Pine 9 says, I'm gonna bust when JJK 3 comes out. Bro, me too. I'm telling you, it's going to be amazing. JJK 3 is going to come out and it's going to blow minds. What this story does is amazing. And yes, Gege Akatami may have not really truly did all that great ending it. We can never truly know what happens in Japan as these mangakas are trying to write these stories on such a crunch story. But right now we have JJK Modolo, however you say that. And I'm going to be doing some breakdowns on that as well. It's going to be amazing. Season 3 is going to crush. And we're going to love it. So no matter what happens in the world, stay true, stay real, and stay magical, because we can only do this together. And as they always say, magic may be the science and art of causing change in the conformity of one's will. So if you can, do magic and do magic daily. Thanks again for Magus in the Media, and have a wonderful day.